As the movie unfolds, Detective Patterson finds himself interrogating Knuckles inside a car, pressing for answers about a woman's disappearance, an abduction that occurred in broad daylight. The tension mounts until, cornered, Knuckles callously confesses to the grim truth. She's already gone, her fate a tragic certainty. Hey there, welcome to Popcorn and Summaries. Today, we're diving into the 2022 action/thriller movie known as Last Seen Alive. But before we jump into the details, subscribing to the channel if you're into the commentary. Let's get right into it. 8 hours before this critical juncture, we find Will and Lisa Spann, a married couple en route to her parents' residence. The air is heavy with tension, laden with the weight of their relationship's strain. Lisa's recent affair and her dissatisfaction with their union hang palpably between them, leading the couple to contemplate a temporary break from their marriage. Resistant to the notion of a hiatus, Will extends their journey with a detour to a gas station for refueling. Seeking an alternative to the original plan, he suggests a vacation or a return to their city rather than proceeding to Lisa's parents' home. Despite his proposal, Lisa remains resolute, adamant about the necessity of taking a break to introspect on their relationship and her own sentiments toward Will. While Will tends to the gas pump, Lisa ventures into the convenience store. Inside, within the restroom confines, her phone buzzes with a message from Clint, the figure entangled in her recent affair. Resolute, she chooses to disregard the notification. Procuring a bottle of water, she prepares to leave. However, on the brink of departure, a voice calls out her name, momentarily diverting her attention from the exit. Unnoticed by Will, engrossed in refueling the car, a passing truck momentarily obscures his view. In that fleeting moment, both Lisa and the unidentified man vanish from sight, swallowed by the absence left in the truck's wake. With mounting anticipation, Will completes refueling and eagerly awaits Lisa's return. Minutes stretch into an agonizing wait, his concern escalating. He scans both the convenience store and the restroom, finding no trace of her. Turning to the cashier, Oscar, Will queries about Lisa, only to be met with denial despite Oscar having seen her earlier. His nerves on edge, Will hurries outside, hands trembling as he dials Lisa's number, the call bouncing to her voicemail. Panic seizes him, his voice trembling as he calls out her name, frantically scouring every corner of the gas station premises, yet Lisa remains elusive, nowhere to be found. Will, overwhelmed by escalating panic, takes the decisive step to contact the police and reports Lisa as missing. Detective Patterson fields his distress call, offering to send an officer or even arrive personally. Advised to stay put at the gas station, Will's fear drives him to a different course. He sets off toward Lisa's parents' house instead. Upon arrival, a maelstrom of emotions greets him as he meets a bewildered Anna and Barry Adams, eagerly expecting their daughter's arrival alongside Will. Their confusion mirrors his own as the unsettling mystery deepens. Following a tense briefing with Lisa's parents, Will advises them to stay at the house, urging them to reach out to her friends nearby. As he departs, Barry, unsettled by Will's behavior, swiftly contacts the police, casting doubt on Will's actions and raising suspicions. Returning to the gas station, Will grapples with a haunting flashback, recalling the moment when Lisa initially proposed the idea of a break. Frustration mounts within him as the memories intensify. Emotions fray, and a heated argument ensues. In his anguish, Will reveals painful insights, that Lisa feels an emotional void in their marriage, her sentiments for him fading without clear understanding. These revelations ignite further tension between them. As Will arrives back at the gas station, Detective Patterson meets him. With an hour and a half elapsed since Lisa's disappearance and her parents unaware of her whereabouts, the urgency swells. They enter the store, aiming to access the security footage and approach the cashier, Oscar. Their hopes shatter as Oscar discloses that the gas station cameras have been non-operational for 2 weeks. Detective Patterson, undeterred, mobilizes, initiating an Amber Alert to aid in the search for Lisa. Seizing Lisa's belongings, he instructs Will to remain at the station while he departs. While surveying the surroundings, Will notices a functional security camera outside. Racing back into the store, he confronts Oscar, demanding access to the footage. After a tense exchange, Oscar reveals the location of the recording, prompting Will to seize the entire recording system before racing to the police station. Arriving, he hands the security tapes to Patterson, who swiftly involves the IT department to analyze the crucial footage, igniting a pivotal phase in their search for answers. The discovery of the security footage unveils a pivotal moment, Lisa engaging in conversation with an unfamiliar yet seemingly known man. Their interaction unfolds until the man prompts Lisa to accompany him to his car, where she complies. Regrettably, the site is obstructed by a passing truck, concealing both Lisa and the car's departure from view. Will manages to capture an image of the man's vehicle before Detective Patterson redirects him for questioning. Initially, Patterson's inquiries revolve around basic details, but the tone shifts as he delves into the complexities of Will and Lisa's marital struggles. Frustrated and distressed, Will implores Patterson to prioritize the search for Lisa, dismissing the relevance of the probing questions. However, Patterson expresses concern, hinting at the potentiality of Will's involvement in his wife's disappearance. He explores facets of Will's life, including his successful career as a property developer, pondering the possibility of enemies or adversaries linked to his work. The gravity of the situation deepens as suspicion casts a shadow over Will, intensifying the tension and uncertainties surrounding Lisa's vanishing. The escalating tension leads Will to leave the questioning behind, making his way back to Lisa's parents' home. Presenting them with a photo of the mysterious man and his vehicle, the revelation hits home when they identify him as Knuckles, an occasional handyman and Lisa's childhood friend. With a new lead in hand, Anna recalls Knuckles frequents a place called Morrison's. Ignoring Patterson's inquiries, Will heads there, feigning casual driving when questioned over the phone. His GPS guides him to Morrison's, where he exits his car, retrieves a crowbar, and ventures through the woods toward a wooden fence. Peering through, he spots the elusive car. Ignoring boundaries, Will trespasses onto the property, catching sight of Knuckles hurriedly packing belongings. Silently maneuvering into the trailer, Will confronts Knuckles, using the crowbar to coerce information about Lisa's whereabouts. Despite the pressure, Knuckles remains tight-lipped until Will's desperation escalates into physical coercion. Finally, under duress, Knuckles divulges that he left Lisa with a man named Frank, offering to lead Will to Frank in exchange for ceasing the violence. The situation intensifies as Will, armed with Knuckles' gun, takes drastic measures, binding and confining Knuckles in the trunk of his car. He speeds towards what Knuckles claims is Frank's location, only to get pulled over by a vigilant police officer for speeding. In a desperate bid, Will instructs Knuckles to remain silent while he converses with the officer. When asked to open the trunk, panic seizes Will, prompting him to bolt into the nearby woods. Meanwhile, Detective Patterson returns to the gas station, encountering a different cashier. He redirects his investigation to Lisa's parents' home, seeking information about Clint, a figure from Lisa's past. Discovering the persistent attempts from Clint to reconnect with Lisa, unanswered by her, Patterson conveys that the police found nothing incriminating in their scrutiny of Clint. Despite Barry's fervent plea for more decisive action, Patterson clarifies the absence of concrete evidence to justify a crime in their ongoing investigation. As Will navigates the woods, evading the police, he presses on foot toward Frank's purported location. Gunshots reverberate in the distance, guiding him to a small, paved road. Attempting to commandeer an ATV, Will is intercepted by a man cautioning against it, demanding an explanation for his presence. The tense charade continues as Will pretends to be interested in a business deal with Frank, citing Knuckles as his reference. Despite initial distrust, Will persists in his act, maneuvering closer as Frank remains unresponsive on the radio. Granted limited access, he proceeds into Frank's compound, a den of drug addicts and dealers. Navigating the volatile environment, Will cautiously advances and spots Frank, issuing commands to his men. Entering a garage, a fierce scuffle ensues as he confronts and subdues a man inside a car, only to be stunned by the realization that it's Oscar, a member of Frank's cohort. Seizing a shotgun, Will pursues Oscar, tracing his path to a barn, housing their drug production facility. Amidst the chaos, Will encounters barrels of explosives, heightening the stakes of the confrontation. Racing into the main room, he confronts Frank and Larry, aiming his weapon and demanding information about Lisa. Frank denies any knowledge, growing impatient with Will's demands. Determined, Will urges them to open a container, suspecting Lisa might be inside, only to be blindsided as Frank opens fire when the door gives way. The intense gunfight inside the barn culminates in a fatal exchange. Will manages to eliminate Larry but fails to extract information about Lisa's whereabouts. Frank escapes in the labyrinthine structure, leaving Will with unanswered questions. Unaware of the impending danger, Will exits the barn, oblivious to the fire ignited by the chaos. Navigating through the frantic junkies, a standoff ensues between Will and Oscar, both armed and ready. Oscar vehemently denies involvement in Lisa's kidnapping, offering crucial information in exchange for a hefty sum. Skepticism prevails, but when Oscar produces Lisa's phone as evidence, Will reluctantly agrees to the deal. In the midst of their tense negotiation, the barn erupts in a deafening explosion. The ensuing chaos claims Oscar's life and leaves Will gravely injured. Meanwhile, at the police station, Detective Patterson receives updates on the unfolding events. Learning of the officer's encounter with Will and the subsequent setup of a perimeter, Patterson rushes to the crime scene. Arriving, he finds Knuckles in custody. Pressuring Knuckles for information on Lisa's abduction, Patterson recalls a chilling flashback of witnessing Lisa's abduction at the gas station, although Knuckles vehemently denies involvement. Frustrated, Patterson resorts to threatening Knuckles with a lifetime in prison if he refuses to divulge the truth, determined to unravel the mystery shrouding Lisa's disappearance. The chilling truth unravels as Knuckles finally breaks, admitting the heartbreaking reality of Lisa's demise. He discloses his complicity in orchestrating her abduction, revealing how he collaborated with Frank, plotting to capitalize on her husband's wealth by kidnapping Lisa. On that fateful day at the gas station, Knuckles initiated the plan, luring Lisa into Frank's clutches. However, their nefarious scheme took a dire turn when Frank discovered Lisa's presence at their drug facility. In a fit of rage and to safeguard their secrecy, Frank ordered Knuckles to eliminate her. Fear-stricken, Knuckles balked at the command and fled, leaving Lisa's fate in jeopardy. As Patterson and the police swarm Frank's compound, racing to contain the fire and apprehend Frank's men, Will, visibly shaken by the explosion and the grim revelations, sits by the police car. Expecting the worst, he rises to greet Patterson, fearing possible repercussions for kidnapping Knuckles. To his surprise, Patterson instructs him to stay put, signaling a shift in the investigation's focus. The dramatic turn of events takes an unexpected twist as Patterson, driven by determination, uncovers a concealed hole behind one of the buildings at the compound. However, his hopes of finding Lisa's body are dashed when the cavity yields emptiness, casting doubt on Knuckles' confession. Meanwhile, Will, driven by an instinct, roams the area and detects faint sounds. Following the whispers, he discovers Lisa confined in a small shack. Setting her free, relief washes over them both as she softly implores, "Take me home." In a tender moment, Will embraces her, lifting her away from the harrowing ordeal. At Lisa's parents' home, as Will stands in the driveway, Patterson arrives with news. Acknowledging that Will had to use force against Frank's men, the police will perceive it as self-defense, opting not to arrest him. The film concludes with a poignant scene, a testament to their resilience, where Lisa, grateful and filled with emotion, takes her husband's hand, leading him inside their sanctuary, a beacon of hope amid the darkness they've endured. If you enjoyed this gripping recap, show your support by hitting the like button and don't forget to subscribe to be the first to catch our upcoming videos.